An item on the agenda today, and it is Senate nomination number 105. Mr. Terry Lynn Abbey, would you have a seat down here at the microphone, Mr. Abbey? And give everybody a few minutes to look at the peer report and give Mr. Abbey an opportunity to make an opening statement. Mr. Abbey, push the button and your light will come on green. And you can tell the committee about yourself.
Of course, I'm Terry Abbey, and I'm glad to be here and proud to, have the opportunity to serve on the stewardship committee board. Anyway, proud to be here today.
Does anyone on the committee have any questions? Senator Whaley.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First off, thank you, Mr. Abbey, for willing to come in today and to serve on this board. This is one that is pretty close to my heart. I spent a lot of time working on this in its inception. I've seen the work that this board has done, some great things for conservation, and I look forward to the future of that. Could you speak to what you see as your role on that board and the effects on conservation as you would see, please?
Well, of course, with federal funds, it's matching funds. I think it's it continues to add outdoor activity for a lot of young folks growing up, and anytime we can get them from off the couch into the outdoors, we need to definitely do that. So I'm that's what I see continuing with this project, helping people get from the off the couch into the outdoors and give them more recreational activities outdoors.
Well, I appreciate that. And if you've paid attention to any of the past committee meetings, especially the last committee meeting, I spoke a great deal about that very thing about introducing young hunters to the woods to try to build the sport, to make sure that it stays relevant. So I appreciate your willingness to serve again, and I appreciate your response. Thank you.
All right, does anyone else on the committee have any? Senator England.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Abbey, thank you for being here this morning. I'm looking at a peer report here that has your address of 540 County Road 103, Walnut, Mississippi 38683. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, is that where you reside?
Yes, sir.
Okay. This peer report notes that you have not filed for homestead exemption. Have you filed for homestead exemption there at that address?
I should have. I'll have to check that, but I'm sure I have.
Okay. Have you filed homestead exemption anywhere else?
No.
Okay, so you're not currently exempted.
Well, I should be on that one. I don't know why that's not, but I should be.
Okay, are there any other areas where you have filed homestead exemption, or are they
no,
currently
sir.
exempted?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you.
I think Senator Parks wanted to speak on your behalf.
Yes, thank you for allowing me to do that, Chairman. Just real briefly, this gentleman is from my district, and I'm so excited that he has chosen to serve, you all have chosen to, and he's been willing to serve on the stewardship. You could not have chosen a more avid hunter and a man who takes care of his land. He owns multiple properties throughout the district, and each property is pristine and always promoting hunting, always reaching out to the young people and allowing opportunities. So I can't speak highly enough of Mr. Terry and what he offers, and has have vision. That's the thing. If you were to see his property, it's a vision that he has and how he cares for it. So I would say that, he would carry that over into any opportunity for the grant monies that would be asked for. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Parks. Senator Whaley, you had another question?
I wish to speak on him at the appropriate time.
Okay. Are there any other further questions? Senator Seymour?
Yeah, I got just a few. Mr. Abbey, are you a member of any other associations or groups?
No, sir.
You're not a member of the rural property owners?
No, sir.
Have you ever contributed money to their organization?
No, sir.
I take it that you do a lot of hunting?
I do.
You invite guests to your property?
Yeah, I do.
Do you know Carl Petrick?
I do very well.
Has he ever been hunting at your property? As a
Yes,
guest?
sir. Yes, sir. Yes.
Has any other U.S. Forest Service members been to your property hunting as guests?
Yes, sir.
Would you care to elaborate on who?
Shannon Collardi. Of course, she took Carl's place when he left, and she's been up turkey hunting. She brought her kids up turkey hunting one time.
This is getting to something that really, did you swear out a warrant for 2 hunters to a sheriff's department and have them taken to jail for trespassing when your own camera pictures vindicated them of not being on your property?
No, sir, I didn't charge them with trespassing. I charged them with hunting on the land of others, and they did get charged.
The original charge was you charged them with trespassing. At the date of the court,
Yeah.
the charge was changed at that time. I ain't gonna get into the legal
Yeah,
part, but
yeah, right.
the initial warrant, you charged them for being on your property when they were not.
No, sir, that ain't exactly what happened. I charged them with hunting on land of others, and one of the deputies changed it to trespassing. They couldn't find the code when they was down there. And for the game warden, it was a code you use for hunting on land of others. Anyway, he couldn't find it, so he put trespassing. And when we got to court, I told him that is not what I charged him with. So that's what happened there.
Do you own a flying machine? I don't know what they're called.
I do. Or did. I sold it, but I did own one.
Did you not fly this machine in such a manner to harass a grandfather and his grandson, scaring them to the point that the grandfather actually filed charges?
No, sir. He was hunting at the end of my runway where I was doing touch and goes. So naturally, when I fly over him and fly back over him, he was hunting right at the end of my runway
On the National Forest?
on the National Forest.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Senator England?
Yes, I just want to follow up on Senator Seymour's comments. Mr. Abbey, were you charged with anything in that instance?
No, sir.
Okay, so no charges were dismissed or anything?
Oh, it was dismissed. I guess it was filed, but it was dismissed. Yeah.
Okay, what was the file? What was
I
the
don't even
charge?
remember to be honest. We went to court and they threw it, it went out and that was the end of it. I didn't hear any more. So.
Was it a federal court charge?
No, 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 no.
Okay, so it was on National Forest, but it was a state court charge?
Yeah, yeah, that's right.
Okay, what county was that filed in?
Benton County.
Okay. When you filled out your information for the peer committee to do research into, did you mention that to them?
No, I did not. Because it was throughout, I wasn't charged with anything, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Or actually convicted of anything, put it that way.
All right, is there any other, who's it, Senator McClendon?
Speak on his behalf.
Okay, all right, no further questions? Senator Whaley first.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I've known Mr. Abbey for a number of years. First off, as a businessman, man who has created jobs in Mississippi, who has had a very Mississippi-like life, so to speak. Man who is self-built. He has worked very, very hard for himself, and he has accomplished a lot of good things. I think that's something that we should be proud of in Mississippi, is when somebody from Mississippi does well. And Mr. Abbey definitely exemplifies that, whether it be at Abbey Manufacturing or his feed and supply stores or the equipment dealership, whatever that is. I've known Mr. Abbey to be a good businessman. A good businessman is the kind of person that I like to see on boards like this. They have a great understanding of how things work and how things need to be. They don't mess around, they get things done. That's something that I think that a lot of us could look at and say that we need to do better, is quit messing around and get things done. And definitely does that, in my opinion. Now, we talk about some of the questions that we've heard today. You know, I know that a lot of people are members of associations, and um, when we talk about property rights and so forth, I think that private property rights are a very important thing, and I don't think they have very much to do with this nomination today. But I will speak a little bit about the point of Benton County and National Forest land. If you're familiar with Benton County or Marshall County or any of the counties in the northern part of the state, you will see an intertwining of private properties intertwined with U.S. Forest Service lands, small tracts of Forest Service lands that are next to private properties. This man had an airport, an airstrip. I'm sure an airplane that any of us have ever flown in has flown over a government piece of property. And I don't think that that is a fact that should knock anyone out of consideration. And I don't see it as that. But I guess you would have to be from the area to know that. So I wanted to make a note of that. And as far as bringing people on your property to hunt, an introduction of children to the sport is something that I see as a good thing. I know a lot of people in this room who are lucky to be property owners who have brought in people to hunt. I know people who do not own property who have been lucky enough to be invited to go hunting on somebody's property with their children. So I commend that and I appreciate it. And once again, I appreciate your willingness to come and serve on this board, and I'm looking forward to accepting you.
All right, Senator McClendon, I think you were next.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Abbey, for being willing to serve. My wife was from Millington, Tennessee. Well, she grew up on that Naval Air Base there. So I do know a little bit about the farm supply store you have up there. And I know that Western Tennessee comes to shop at your place, and from farmers to landowners to folks just cutting 2 acres. And everybody I've ever talked to said, they're happy with the service, happy with the product, and what a good businessman you are. I did have a little question about the stewardship program, or maybe it's a statement, not a question, which I'm good at. The city of Hernando got 1.7 million from the stewardship trust, and that was for parkland to help with the parkland there, to do a walking trail, a creek that runs through there, and it's going to be a great thing for the city of Hernando. So when we talk about the stewardship trust fund, it's not just about hunting; it's about land itself and the public land. And how do you have you done much with public land? I know we've talked about a little, bringing stuff on you folks on your hunting, but a little in your business in Millington.
Now, no, repeat the question again about
Well,
public land
what do you see that we could do in Mississippi
for on the public land.
for public land or with this stewardship program?
Well, our county has 54,000 acres. Of course, Neil's very familiar with that. It's 21% of the county, and it sits there and does nothing, and we get nothing off of it in that county. So if we could turn that into something horseback riding, which we've worked on that many, many times to do that. And we even brought Bill Dance's group in to look at building a lake up there at one time, but it'd bring a lot of revenue into the little town there in the county if we could do something like that, especially horseback riding, hiking, and bicycling, or any of that activity. Because right now it gets hunted in the wintertime, and that's it. With CWD, it's even less now because our deer population is way down right now. So there you have it.
Well, thank you again for being willing to serve, and I just can't stress the importance of the stewardship program and what it's going to mean to the city of Hernando and that 1.7 million. And I thank Stewardship Trust Fund for that.
Well, I was proud to be a part of that.
All right, I think Senator England was next.
Yeah, Mr. Abbey, I got to say, you got three very well-respected senators here that said some great things about you, and that's a very good thing. I think that my colleagues that have spoken out for you have done so very well, and I respect them very much. I do have just a few more questions about this incident with I think Senator Seymour called it a flying machine.
Okay.
What is it called so we can,
It's a gyrocopter is what it is.
general copter?
Gyrocopter.
Gyrocopter, okay. This event that happened with the gyrocopter, I think obviously an event happened. Can you explain what happened?
Well, what it was, actually, I didn't even see the hunters. They was hunting at the end of my runway. And of course, they're in a dog hunting club. This is secretary of a dog hunting club. Of course, you know, we've had several run-ins about them running dogs across my property all the time. So he brought his grandkids at the end of my runway, set them up in a briar thicket now, and they got 4,500 acres down the road they could easily took them on, but he set them up on at the end of my runway, which they know I fly every afternoon because I was trying, you know, I was doing my touch and goes because you got to have a little runway to get this thing going. So, but anyway, he ended up, you know, I seen him when he came out of the woods. He started taking pictures of me, and that was, you know, the next thing I knew, he took out papers on me for harassing the hunter. So that's what happened.
Okay, was he on your property?
No. He was on National Forest. National Forest is right at the end of my runway.
Okay. And the reason I have a question, I've heard about the flying machine, and I've heard us talking about getting children to get involved in hunting, and I take my children hunting,
Right.
and I think that's very important. Did you have a chance to talk to these children that felt like they were in some way infringed upon by this gyrocopter that you were
No,
flying?
sir, I did not. I didn't have a
Okay.
chance to talk to him.
Did you ever seek them out or anything to discuss what was
No, I
going
did
on?
not. Mm.
Okay. Was there ever any interaction between you and the grandfather and his children at all?
Well, actually, he apologized to me later on down the road. Actually apologized. Called me in a store one day and apologized for doing that. So,
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Abbey.
All right, I think Senator Barnett, you pass. Senator Ladner.
Would you say that you kind of pride yourself on hunting in all aspects? Or is there a certain thing that you kind of focus on as a hunter?
well, actually, I enjoy taking people hunting. I hadn't killed a deer or a turkey in probably 7 or 8 years, but I enjoy bringing, you know, kids onto my property and people that's never killed an animal before onto my property. That's what I enjoy.
Would you say like there's a certain style of hunting that you prefer like, or kind of against?
No. What, no, you're probably getting the dog hunting, and I'm not against dog hunting, but I am against people trespassing, using their dogs to trespass on other people's property. When you have a kid there hunting, it messes up his hunt. I had a kid that actually would not come back because a group of dogs came across my property and scared the guy to death. He was in there by himself. He was, I don't know, 16 years old. And anyway, he would not come back because it absolutely ruined his hunt.
All right, I don't see any further questions. All right, so, all those in favor, to advise the consent, you gonna make a motion? Okay.
I'd like to make the motion that we do advise and consent on the nomination of Mr. Terry Abbey.
All those in favor say aye. All those opposed? I think the ayes have it. You, rise and report.